Struggling cowboy found female Seminole Outcast tied to a tree. The sign said, "The whites call it." The sun was low over the endless plains of the red dust wastes. Its light burned orange against the metal bones of abandoned ships, scattered like carcasses across the sand. Some of the wrecks were from old trade convoys, others from battles long forgotten. Among them, a lone figure moved steadily, a wide-brimmed hat shading a tired but alert face. Ryder Kane was a cowboy in every sense of the word, though he rode a hovering skimmer instead of a horse. He was lean, wiry, and scarred by years of surviving the harsh frontier. His leather duster flapped against the wind as he guided the skimmer along a trail no map would show. The wastes were unforgiving, but for Ryder, they were home. He knew every ridge, every canyon, every wind-blown ridge of rusted metal. Ryder had been tracking a small band of scavengers who had stolen supplies from a settlement near the River Mira. He wasn't expecting trouble beyond the usual: sandstorms, rogue bots, and the occasional desperate raider. But the wastes had a way of surprising even the most careful. It was then he saw the sign. It hung from a twisted branch of a leafless ironwood tree. The wood had been stripped smooth by wind and sand, but the letters were clear, carved deep into the grain. "The whites call it." Beneath the sign, a figure moved. Or rather, didn't move. Ryder squinted. As he drew closer, he saw her. A young woman bound to the tree with thick, braided rope. Her dark hair was streaked with dust, and her eyes, bright and defiant, followed him warily. Ryder slowed the skimmer and brought it to a stop a few meters away. The woman's clothes were worn and patched, her boots dusty but not ragged. She had a certain dignity, a presence that seemed to command the air around her. Ryder felt a pang of respect. This wasn't someone easily defeated. "Hey," he called, his voice rough but calm. "I'm not here to hurt you." The woman's eyes narrowed. "You're a stranger," she said. Her voice was steady, strong, with a hint of curiosity. "How do I know I can trust you?" Ryder shrugged. "You don't. But if you stay tied there, the sun will take care of that faster than I could." The woman's lips pressed together, and for a moment, Ryder thought she might remain silent. Then she tilted her head and studied him, as if weighing his worth. "You're not from the wastes," she finally said. Ryder smiled faintly. "Not exactly. I'm from the settled lands." "You?" She stiffened. "I am called Annika. I belong to no settlement." Ryder raised an eyebrow. "No settlement?" Annika's eyes flashed. "I am an outcast. Do not ask why. It is not your concern." Ryder nodded slowly. He had learned long ago that the frontier held many secrets. Some were dangerous, others just curious. He dismounted and walked carefully toward the tree, his hands visible, empty. Annika's gaze followed every movement. Ryder's eyes scanned the knots of the rope. They were strong, expertly tied, but not impossible to undo. "Why are you here?" Ryder asked, crouching slightly. "Why leave a sign?" Annika's jaw tightened. "So that those who come will know, or maybe so they will not come. The whites call it." She hesitated, her gaze flicking to the horizon, as if the wind might carry her words away. "The waste's grave." Ryder frowned. That was ominous. The waste's grave was a place spoken of in hushed tones across the frontier, a canyon filled with the rusted skeletons of ships, machines, and unfortunate travelers. Many entered, few returned. "You shouldn't be here," Ryder said softly. Though he knew the warning was meaningless, she had already come this far. Annika's expression did not waver. I have my reasons. Ryder considered her carefully. There was something about her, not just her courage, but her cleverness. A frontier survivor had to have more than strength. She had to have instinct, resourcefulness. Ryder recognized that quality immediately. He moved closer, crouching beside the base of the tree. "These ropes aren't going to hold me," he said with a small smirk. "But I don't want to hurt you." Annika's eyes narrowed suspiciously, but she made no move to struggle. Ryder studied the knots, then produced a small multi-tool from his belt. He worked quickly, methodically, and within moments the rope slackened. As he freed her, Annika's movements were careful, precise. She flexed her wrists, then dusted off her clothes. Her eyes never left Ryder, calculating, cautious, but not ungrateful. "You know," Ryder said lightly, "for someone tied to a tree, you handle yourself pretty well." Annika allowed a small, almost imperceptible smile. "I learned long ago that survival isn't about waiting for help. It's about finding it, or taking it when necessary." Ryder nodded. That was the kind of answer he respected. Humans had a way of enduring, of overcoming, that no machine or alien force could easily match. That was why he rode the wastes, why he trusted his instincts. And that was why he felt intrigued.
"Come on," he said, motioning toward the skimmer. "You're not safe here."
"The Waster's grave isn't just dangerous, it's cursed in the minds of many. And the sandstorms, well, they don't care who you are." Annika hesitated. "Why help me?" Ryder smiled faintly. "Because if someone can survive out here on their own, it's worth knowing them." She studied him, then finally stepped onto the skimmer. It hummed beneath them, lifting slightly above the sand. Ryder guided it carefully along the broken trail. The sun was sinking lower, painting the sky in streaks of crimson and violet. Shadows of twisted metal skeletons stretched across the dunes like ancient guardians. For a while, they rode in silence. The wind carried a faint metallic tang, the ghosts of machines long dead. Ryder glanced at Annika. Her expression was calm but alert, scanning the horizon constantly. "Do you always travel alone?" he asked. "I used to," she said. "But the wastes, they change people. Sometimes you survive, sometimes you don't. I learned to move carefully, watch for threats, and trust no one." Ryder nodded. That was the frontier way. Trust could kill you if given too freely, and yet, sometimes, it was the only way to survive.
"Name's Ryder," he said finally.
"Ryder? Kane. Annika," she replied. "That is all you need to know." The skimmer rose over a ridge, and for the first time Annika saw the full expanse of the Waste's grave. The canyon stretched endlessly, filled with jagged metal shards, abandoned hulls, and the occasional glint of machinery that had survived centuries of sun and wind. It was beautiful and terrifying all at once. Ryder paused the skimmer at the edge of a ridge. "This is where the signs come from," he said. "The Waste's grave. People enter. Few come back. But you survived long enough to leave a warning." Annika's eyes met his. "Not all who enter are foolish. Some are clever. Some are lucky." Ryder chuckled softly. "Then maybe you're both." They rode in silence for a while, the sun disappearing behind the horizon. Shadows stretched across the sands, and the night brought a chill that made the air shimmer. Out here, the stars were bright, brilliant against the black sky, a reminder that humanity was small but resilient. I'll take you somewhere safe, Ryder said finally. A settlement just beyond the next ridge. They'll feed you, patch you up. And Annika's eyes softened for the first time. Safe is a relative term. Ryder grinned. Out here it is. As the skimmer glided toward the distant lights of the settlement, Ryder felt a rare sense of anticipation. The wastes were vast, dangerous, and unpredictable. But humans were clever, resourceful, defiant, and sometimes, just sometimes, they found each other in the unlikeliest of places. He didn't know what lay ahead, what dangers, what mysteries, but he knew one thing. Annaka was not ordinary. And the wastes, well, they had a way of testing the extraordinary. And so, under the rising stars of the red dust wastes, two survivors rode together, strangers brought together by chance, skill, and curiosity. The waste's grave waited silently below them, full of secrets. And the frontier, as always, demanded courage. The settlement lights glimmered like fireflies in the distance, tiny beacons against the vast darkness of the wastes. Ryder Kane guided the skimmer along the jagged path, careful to avoid the half-buried wrecks that littered the dunes. Annika stayed silent, her eyes scanning the horizon as if she could read the sand itself.
You're quiet, Ryder said. Usually, people have something to say after being rescued.
Annika tilted her head. I am cautious. Trust is earned, not given. Ryder smirked. Fair enough. I suppose that's why we both survive out here. The wastes were no place for mistakes. Machines long dead still held fragments of their programs, triggering old defense systems. Sandstorms could appear without warning, swallowing everything in their path. And yet, human beings endured. They adapted. They found ways to survive where others failed. Ryder and Annika were living proof of that. The skimmer hummed beneath them, the engine's soft vibration blending with the whispers of the wind. As they approached a particularly jagged ridge, Ryder slowed. Shadows stretched unnaturally across the sand, cast by twisted hulls and rusted skeletons of ships. This place, Annika whispered, almost to herself. It feels alive. Ryder glanced at her. Alive? She nodded. The grave. It remembers. The machines. The people. Everything that dies here leaves something behind. You can feel it. Ryder felt a shiver run down his spine. Not from fear, but from respect. The frontier was full of strange phenomena. Some were natural, some man-made, and some beyond understanding. They descended into a narrow canyon, the skimmer gliding between rusted hulls that jutted from the sand like broken teeth. The path was treacherous. One wrong move and they could slide into a pit of jagged metal, never to be seen again. Stay close, Ryder said. The waste's grave isn't forgiving. Annika nodded. Her movements were careful, precise, and she seemed to understand the dangers instinctively. Ryder couldn't help but notice how human ingenuity shone through her actions, her resourcefulness, her keen perception. As they navigated the canyon, a faint glow appeared ahead. Ryder adjusted the skimmer's sensors, revealing a small settlement hidden among the wrecks. It was modest. Makeshift buildings formed from salvaged metal with solar panels and wind turbines scattered around. But it was alive. Smoke rose from small chimneys, and people moved purposefully, their faces lined with the hardships of frontier life. We're not far, Ryder said. They'll take you in, patch you up, feed you. Annika's eyes softened slightly, though she remained wary. I hope their hospitality matches your confidence, she said. Ryder laughed softly. It usually does, as long as you show respect. They landed the skimmer just outside the settlement. The villagers, humans and a few augmented humans with mechanical limbs, watched them cautiously. Ryder dismounted and gestured toward Annika. "This one's with me," he said. "She needs help." A man with a mechanical arm stepped forward. "Ryder Kane," he said, nodding. "Haven't seen you in a while. Who's this?" "Anaka," Ryder replied. "Outcast. Found her tied to a tree in the waste's grave." The man's eyes widened slightly. "Tied to a tree?" he said. "That's unusual." Ryder shrugged. "The waste's grave has a way of surprising people." Annika stepped forward, her posture straight, her eyes sharp.
"I need no help from strangers," she said. The villagers exchanged glances.
Ryder raised a hand. "She'll accept help. She just needs time." The mechanical-armed man gestured to a building made from a patched-up ship hull. "She can rest here. We'll bring food and water." Annika nodded, though she didn't sit immediately. Ryder watched her closely.
Humans adapted in different ways, and she had survived alone in the grave for a reason. Her caution was a tool, her instinct a weapon.
He admired that. As night fell, the settlement's lights glowed softly. People moved about, repairing equipment, cooking meals, and tending to small gardens. It was a fragile community, but one that had learned to survive in one of the harshest places on the frontier. Ryder and Annika were welcomed, but cautiously observed. After she had eaten, Annika stepped outside. Brew! The sky was clear, the stars blazing like diamonds. Ryder followed, leaning against a piece of twisted metal. "You're quiet tonight," she said. "Thinking," Ryder replied. "About the grave. About you." She raised an eyebrow. "About me?" "Yes," he said. "Ah. Humans like us, we endure, we survive. And sometimes we find each other when it matters most." Annika looked up at the stars. "The grave changes people," she said. "Some leave it broken. Others stronger. I think it tried to break me, but I learned." "I adapted?" Ryder nodded. "That's what makes humans remarkable. We don't just survive.
We learn, we innovate, we fight back against impossible odds.
There was a pause, the kind that comes when two people understand each other without words. Ryder knew that the frontier tested humans in ways machines and aliens never could. And in Annika, she had been tested, and she had survived. Suddenly, a distant rumble echoed through the canyon. Ryder's hand went to his belt, where his multi-tool rested. Annika's eyes narrowed, scanning the horizon. "Storm," Ryder said. "Sandstorm. Coming fast." The waste didn't give warnings like this lightly. Sandstorms could appear in minutes, swallowing everything. Ryder and Annika sprinted back to the settlement, helping to secure doors and loose equipment. Villagers moved quickly, showing their own ingenuity and preparation. Annika worked silently but efficiently, reinforcing barriers and guiding people to safety. Ryder watched her, impressed by her resourcefulness. Humans had a way of rising to challenges, of finding solutions where others might panic. The storm hit hard. Sand whipped through the air, howling like a living thing. Visibility dropped to zero, and the settlement trembled under the wind. But the villagers were prepared, their structures reinforced, their knowledge of the waste's grave evident in every action. Ryder and Annika stayed together, moving from group to group, ensuring everyone was safe. The storm was relentless, but human determination proved stronger. Through ingenuity, cooperation, and courage, they held the settlement together. Hours later, the storm passed. The wastes were quiet again, the sand settling like powder. The settlement survived. People emerged cautiously, assessing damage but alive. Ryder and Annika stood together, surveying the aftermath. "You did well," Ryder said. "You could have just hidden, but you helped." Annika looked at him. "Survival is more than escaping danger," she said. "It's knowing when to act and who to trust." Ryder smiled. "You're learning fast." The night was calm now, stars shining brighter than ever. The Waste's grave lay below, full of secrets, dangers, and opportunities. Ryder knew that the frontier would test them again, in ways neither of them could yet imagine. But for now, humans had prevailed. And in that moment, Ryder understood something essential about the Wastes. It was harsh, dangerous, and unyielding. But it also revealed what made humans extraordinary: their courage, ingenuity, and ability to endure. Annika turned to him, her eyes reflecting the starlight. "What now?" she asked. Ryder considered the horizon, the distant ridges of rusted metal and sand. "Now," he said, "we prepare. The grave has more secrets, and humans, well, we're never done exploring." Annika nodded. For the first time, she felt a sense of belonging, not in a settlement, not in a tribe, but among those who dared to survive, to endure, and to face the Wastes head-on. Together they walked through the quiet settlement, ready for whatever the Waste's grave would throw at them next. Because in the frontier, the extraordinary was never found in comfort. It was found in survival, in ingenuity, and in the human spirit. And both Ryder and Annika had it in abundance. The sun rose slowly over the Waste's grave, spilling light over jagged metal skeletons that jutted from the sand like broken teeth. Ryder Kane adjusted his hat and squinted against the glare. The settlement lay behind them, small but alive, a fragile reminder of human persistence. Ahead, the canyon widened into an area few dared to enter, a region the locals whispered about as the heart of the grave. Ryder glanced at Annika. She had spent a night among humans for the first time in years, and yet her posture remained alert, every muscle ready for action. Her eyes scanned the landscape with a mix of curiosity and caution. Ryder had seen that look before. It belonged to survivors, to those who understood that danger and opportunity often walked hand in hand. "Ready?" Ryder asked, adjusting the skimmer's controls. Annika nodded. "Ready? But the heart, it is different. Many who enter do not return. Not all because of the sand or the storms. Some vanish." Ryder smirked faintly. "Then we'll just have to be cleverer than whatever waits for us." The skimmer lifted off, gliding over the dunes. The wind carried a metallic scent, the sharp tang of rust and sand. Every few meters, fragments of old machines glinted in the sun, rusted ship parts, broken bots, and decayed structures that had once been bustling outposts. The heart of the grave was a graveyard for technology as much as it was for people. As they descended into a narrow pass, Ryder slowed. A low rumble shook the sand beneath them. He tapped the skimmer's sensors and noticed faint energy readings flickering among the wrecks. "Someone, or something, is here," he murmured. Annika's eyes narrowed. "Not all who remain are human," she said. "Some machines remember, even when broken. They protect or punish. It depends on their memory." Ryder studied her. Machines with memory could be dangerous, especially in the grave. Old defense systems, security drones, even decayed combat bots could still react to intruders. Human ingenuity had to match machine persistence. They carefully guided the skimmer along a path marked by half-buried hulls. Suddenly, the sensors picked up movement, small, fast, mechanical. A cluster of scout bots, still functional despite years of neglect, skittered across the metal debris toward them. Ryder didn't hesitate. He reached for a pulse emitter on his belt, a device capable of temporarily disabling machines without harming them. He pressed the trigger, sending a wave of energy. The scout bots froze mid-step, then collapsed, powerless. Annika watched, impressed. "You do not waste time," she said. "Efficiency is survival." "Experience," Ryder replied simply. "Humans are clever when they have to be. And we've had a lot of practice." They pressed on, careful to avoid unstable debris. The canyon narrowed further, forming a tunnel-like passage between two massive hulls. Inside, shadows shifted, and the air felt heavy. Ryder could almost hear the whispers of the past, the hum of engines long dead, the faint echoes of human voices trapped in memory banks.
"This place is alive," Annika murmured. "It remembers everyone who passed through." Ryder nodded.
"And tests those who enter. Humans survive by adapting."
That's why we endure where others fail. They reached the heart of the canyon, a wide clearing filled with towering wrecks, some stacked like makeshift towers. In the center, a faint blue glow emanated from a massive, half-buried ship. Its hull was scarred, but energy readings suggested it was still partially functional. "That's unusual," Ryder muttered. "It shouldn't still have power." Anaka's eyes widened. "It is special. The heart of the grave does not give up its secrets lightly. Humans rarely find what remains alive here." Ryder dismounted the skimmer, moving cautiously toward the glowing ship. Annika followed, stepping lightly across the sand and twisted metal. Every movement was calculated. Every step carried the weight of survival instinct honed over years. As they approached, the glow intensified. Panels on the ship's surface flickered, revealing symbols Ryder had seen only in old data logs, symbols of advanced navigation, communication, and defense systems. Someone had built this ship to last, to survive far beyond the expected lifespan of the frontier. "Do you think it's dangerous?" Annika asked. "Everything in the grave is dangerous," Ryder replied. "But sometimes danger hides opportunity. Humans understand that better than anyone." He reached for the hatch and pressed a sequence of buttons he recognized from the old schematics. The hatch hissed and slowly slid open, revealing a dimly lit interior. The air inside was cool, dry, and surprisingly clean. Annika stepped in first, moving like a shadow. Ryder followed, scanning the room for traps or automated defenses. Inside, the ship's systems powered up gradually. Holographic displays flickered to life, showing maps of the grave, energy reserves, and logs of previous travelers. Ryder's eyes widened. This ship was not abandoned. It had been monitoring the grave, collecting data, waiting. This is incredible," Ryder said. "Someone built a ship to survive the grave, to observe it. That takes planning, skill, and patience. That's human ingenuity." Annika walked toward one of the displays. Her fingers brushed over the controls, and the ship responded to her touch. "It recognizes us," she said. "Not all humans can operate it. Only those who understand, who adapt, who survive." Ryder smiled. "Looks like you belong here more than I thought." They explored further, discovering storage rooms filled with supplies, repair kits, and tools salvaged from the grave. The ship was a treasure trove of human ingenuity, designed to endure where normal settlements could not. Ryder felt a thrill of admiration. Humans had a way of creating solutions for the impossible. Suddenly, a low hum echoed through the ship, lights flickered, and a panel opened to reveal a small drone. Still functional after decades, it hovered, scanning Ryder and Annika. Then it projected a holographic figure, a human, long gone, recorded centuries before.
Who? Ryder began.
The hologram spoke in a calm, measured voice. If you are seeing this, you are among the few who can survive the heart. This ship contains the knowledge and tools necessary to endure. Use it wisely. The grave tests all who enter. Only the clever, the resourceful, and the brave will succeed. Annika's eyes gleamed. A guide left by humans who understood the grave. They survived and left their knowledge behind. Ryder nodded slowly. That's what makes humans remarkable. We endure, we adapt, we learn, and then we help those who follow. As they explored, Ryder and Annika discovered a navigation map projecting a route deeper into the grave. It led to areas that even the settlement had avoided. Zones filled with concentrated wrecks, dangerous energy fields, and remnants of machines that had become aggressive over time. This is where the real test begins, Ryder said. Annika's expression was unreadable, but her eyes shone with determination. Tests are nothing new. Humans are built for them, we learn. We adapt. We survive.
Ryder smiled. Exactly.
And humans, we never give up. That's why we endure where others fail. The skimmer docked inside the ship, now fully operational. Ryder activated the systems, and the ship hummed to life, lifting slightly above the ground. Its advanced navigation allowed them to move faster, safer, through the unpredictable terrain of the grave. As they flew deeper, shadows stretched across the wrecks below, and strange shapes moved among the debris. The grave was alive with remnants of the past, machines, structures, and perhaps even echoes of humans who had once called this place home. Ryder glanced at Annika. This is just the beginning. The heart of the grave will test us, but humans, we rise to every challenge. Annika nodded. Then let us see how far we can go.
Humans endure. Even when the odds are impossible, we survive.
And we learn. The ship moved steadily forward, guided by human ingenuity, instinct, and determination. Below them, the waste's graves stretched endlessly, dangerous and mysterious, waiting to challenge the extraordinary. And Ryder and Annika were ready, for in the wastes, survival was not given, it was earned. And humans? Humans were masters of the impossible. Do you want me to go ahead and write part 4 now? Here's part 4 of your story, keeping it 1,600 words, third person, simple English, HFY sci-fi, engaging, safe, continuing the journey into the heart of the grave. Part 4, Trial of the Heart. The heart of the grave stretched endlessly beneath them, a maze of twisted metal, sand-choked canyons, and shadows that seemed to move with a life of their own. Ryder Kane guided the ship slowly, scanning every ridge and crevice. Annika sat beside him, her eyes sharp, reading the terrain with a practiced gaze. This place, it tests everything, she said quietly. Machines, sand, even humans. It separates the clever from the foolish. Ryder nodded. Then we'll have to be clever. Humans survive not by chance, but by thinking ahead, adapting, and never giving up. The ship's sensors picked up faint signals ahead, irregular energy readings that suggested both danger and opportunity. Ryder adjusted their course, navigating toward the largest concentration of wrecks they had seen so far. As they descended into a canyon filled with jagged hulls, the ground beneath them trembled. Sand shifted, revealing pits and unstable wreckage. Ryder slowed, careful not to trigger a collapse. Suddenly, the sensors blinked furiously. A swarm of defense drones, long inactive, had reactivated. They hovered silently, their energy cores glowing faintly. Ryder reached for the pulse emitter. "We need to move fast," he said. Annika's hand rested on a control panel. "Let me help. I know how to manipulate old systems." Together, they worked quickly. Ryder used the pulse emitter to disable the nearest drones, while Annika interfaced with the ship's systems. Sparks flew from the panel as she rerouted energy, creating a temporary shield around them. "Almost there!" she shouted over the hum of the ship. The shield flickered, but it held long enough for the ship to glide past the swarm. Ryder exhaled. "Humans endure. That's why we survive. Cleverness, courage, and quick thinking. It's all we need." Annika smiled faintly. "And cooperation. Even survivors need allies." They continued deeper, the canyon walls closing around them. The wrecks became more chaotic, towering structures leaning dangerously, some with energy surges that made the air hum. Ryder guided the ship between them with careful precision. Ahead, a massive hull blocked their path. Its surface glowed faintly, as though it held some hidden energy. Ryder studied it. "Looks like a dead end, but the heart never works that way. There's always a solution." Annika moved to the front panel. "If we can access the hull's systems, we might be able to open a path." Ryder smiled. "Then let's see what human ingenuity can do." They docked the ship briefly against the hull. Annika interfaced with its systems, her fingers moving with practiced precision. The hull responded, slowly sliding apart to reveal a narrow passage. Ryder guided the ship carefully through it. Inside the passage, the air grew heavy with energy. Strange machines, half buried in sand, activated as they approached. Some emitted light pulses, others hummed, scanning the ship. Ryder and Annika worked together seamlessly. His quick thinking, her knowledge of systems. They bypassed each obstacle, disabling the dangerous ones and using the safe ones to their advantage. Hours passed as they navigated the maze. The heart of the grave seemed to test not just their skills, but their patience and resilience. Ryder noticed that Annika moved with growing confidence, adapting quickly to each challenge. What? Humans survived because they learned, and she was learning fast. Suddenly, the ship's sensors detected movement ahead, a massive shadow shifting among the wrecks. Ryder froze. "That's not a machine," he said quietly. Annika's eyes narrowed. "No, it's something else. Human? Maybe augmented. Dangerous." The shadow emerged, a figure tall and imposing, with mechanical limbs and a helmet that reflected the ship's lights. Ryder could see energy weapons mounted on its arms, and it moved with deliberate precision. Ryder whispered, "We can't fight it head-on. Humans survive by thinking ahead." Annika nodded. "Then we outsmart it. There's always a way." They studied the figure, noticing its movement pattern. It seemed to patrol in a predictable loop. Ryder guided the ship into a side passage, using shadows and wreckage for cover. Annika interfaced with a nearby power node, rerouting energy to create a distraction, a pulse that drew the figure's attention in the opposite direction. Ryder whispered, "Now." They maneuvered the ship quickly, slipping past the figure unnoticed. It moved toward the energy surge, investigating, but Ryder and Annika were already gone, deeper into the heart. "That was close," Ryder said, exhaling. "Humans endure because we adapt." "And we survive because we never stop thinking," Annika nodded. "We are clever enough to outlast even the grave itself." They emerged into a wider chamber where the wrecks formed a natural amphitheater. In the center, a massive machine lay partially buried, a command hub of some ancient defense system. Its energy cores pulsed faintly, and it hummed with latent power. Ryder studied it. If we can activate it, we could control some of the heart's defenses, or at least understand them. Humans understand technology in ways nothing else can. Annika stepped forward. I can try. It's risky, but humans survive by taking risks. She interfaced with the machine, her fingers moving quickly across the controls. Sparks flew, and energy arcs danced around the chamber. Ryder watched closely, ready to assist if anything went wrong. Minutes passed. Slowly, the machine powered up. Holographic displays flickered, showing maps, energy flows, and dormant defense units. Ryder and Annika studied them carefully. This is incredible, Ryder said. Humans built this to survive, to adapt, to endure. And even now, it's waiting for clever minds to understand it. Annika smiled faintly. The heart rewards those who are patient, observant, and brave. Humans endure because we are all three. Suddenly the machine emitted a low hum, and a pathway opened, an energy bridge leading deeper into the grave. Ryder studied it. Another test. But humans, we cross where others fear to go. Annika nodded. Then let us continue. The grave is dangerous, but humans endure. That is why we survive. Together they guided the ship onto the energy bridge. It hummed beneath them, supporting their weight as they moved forward. Shadows stretched across the wrecks below, and strange noises echoed through the canyon. The heart of the grave was alive, challenging them at every step. Ryder glanced at Annika. You've learned quickly. Humans endure because we adapt. We survive because we think, we act, and we never give up. Annika smiled. And humans thrive because we work together, even when alone. That is why the grave cannot break us. They reached the other side of the bridge, landing the ship safely on a rocky outcrop. Below them, the waste's grave stretched endlessly, dangerous and mysterious. Ryder and Annika knew that greater challenges awaited, but they were ready. Because humans endure, humans adapt, and humans survive where others fail. And the heart of the grave had just begun its tests.